What's up, super players? It's your homie C-Rod back at it again with another video, and today we got Super 17. We're stepping back into the Grand Tour with this deck profile right here. And all I gotta say is that this leader right here is not only really fun, very powerful as well. And I took a little bit of my, super spice and threw it in here. So Super 17, if you guys do not know what this leader does, is he has a burst 2, meaning every time he attacks, you get to place 2 cards from the top of your deck in the drop area. Then you get to draw 1 card. And then when you're pretty much life is at 4 or less, you're able to awaken Super 17 into Super 17 Evil Entwined. Oh my god, this guy looks sick. Look at the artwork. But he has Sparking 5, meaning if you have 5 cards in the drop area, every time he attacks, you draw a card and he gains critical for the duration of the turn, which is a very powerful ability to, hand control your opponent and make them lose lives without them getting any hand resources. Also, an activate main, if your opponent has 10 or more cards in their hand, your opponent places cards from their hand in the drop area until they have 9. So if your opponent has a big fat hand, it's gonna pretty much go all the way down to 9, just like that. So Super 17, the hand controlling master. So what are we running in here? Well, we have to run 17. Android 17, the protector of wildlife. I gotta get my copy right here for the McBomb as I, give you guys a deck profile. Christmas coffee is the best. But, we got Android 17, the giraffe savior. And what he does is he has energy exhaust, and if you happen to have another dual color energy, you can place this card in your energy in active mode without, energy exhaust activating. So we are gonna be running 4 of these Android 17s because we definitely need Android 17s in our deck because, in order to turn into Super 17, we need Android 17. We got Android 16. This is an Android theme based deck. It's heavily based on the Androids. So if you're an Android fan, make sure to hit a good like on this video and subscribe if you are new here. But we got Android 16 Energy Amplification. What this card does is if you happen to have another dual color energy in your energy zone, which you will because we got our, Android 17, the Wildlife Protector, you're able to bring out 1 energy from the top of your deck onto your energy zone in rest mode. So this is a ramping up card. So this card gets you extra energy so you can have that energy ramping on your opponent. So we have 4 of these. Very useful. Another Android. We got Android 21, a Bad Omen. This card on its own is a finisher. For 4 energies, you can play this card from your energy zone onto the field, and when she comes out onto the field, you got to drop 1 of your energies to KO 1 of your opponent's battle cards and force your opponent to lose 1 life to the drop. So this is a finisher on her own. Like, she finishes the job. It's an instant crit when she comes out onto the field. So this card is beast, and that's it for the dual color energy. So we're running a total of 10 dual color cards, meaning mulligan hard for at least 1 dual color energy. So then we got Android 18 Speedy Substitution. What she does is pretty much when you play her for 1 energy, you pick up the top 5, add yourself an Android. This deck is heavily Android themed, so you're gonna be, hitting most of the time. And then at the end of your turn, you're able to switch a dual color energy with 1 card in your hand, and this is going to be very useful to get you, the Android 17s and always have that, energy active. So we have 2. I got the special rare right here, Android 18 right here. Beautiful card. I think I said it's 17. I'm not sure, but it's Android 18. Talking about Android 17, we got Energy Guard Android 17. This card is a winner right here. So what this card does is for 3 energies, he comes out onto the field and he's a blocker that at the end of your turn, he goes back to active. So you can attack with him, and then at the end of your turn, you get a active card. So we are running 2 of these. because this guy is Android 17, and we need a lot of Android 17s in this deck for the Hellfighter Evil Revive 17. This is the Union Absorb card that absorbs the regular 17 and turns into Super 17, because what this card does is for 3 energies, he's a barrier card. You're able to place 117 from your hand or drop area, and since our leader drops cards on Awaken consistently, you're gonna have an Android 17 in the drop. We have a total of 8 17s in this deck. That's more than enough. Once you drop a regular Android 17, you're able to place it under this card, and then what this guy does is he lets you search your deck or drop area for a Super 17 with energy cost of 4 and play it on top of this card. So you Union Absorb, and we're running 4 of these because you definitely want to Union Absorb and bring out the 4 cost Android 17, Super Android 17, and it happens to be Super 17, the Infernal Machine. This guy right here is beast. What he is he's a double strike that this card's attack cannot be negated, and on top of that, when you play this card, you get to use his auto that choose 2 cards in your hand, place them in the drop area, and then your opponent drops 2 as well. So this is hand destruction, non-negatable double strike that can be brought out with the Hellfighter 17. We are running 2, 1 alternative art, 1 basic artwork. You choose your preference. Hit it up in the comment section which one looks cleaner. You know, I like both, so I put both in the deck. So talking about Super 17, this is another 4 cost Super 17 that you're able to bring out with the Hellfighter 17 Evil Revive. So what this card does is he's a barrier deflect, meaning you cannot counterplay him, and when you play this card, you get to pretty much KO one of your opponent's battle cards, which is very, very useful. And on top of that, he's an additional Union Absorb, which is for 4 energies. You're able to choose 1 cell from your hand or drop area, place it under this card, and then you're able to search your deck or drop for a Super 17 with an energy cost of 6. So this card just extends your plays and he KOs. And which Super 17 with an energy cost of 6 do you want to Union Absorb with this guy? Well, first of all, we need cell, right? We need to have a cell in our hand or in our drop area in order to Union Absorb with the Super 17 Furthering Heights. And this card is the cell that we're gonna be, Union Absorbing. What he is he's just a super combo, 10k boost, a draw card for 1 energy, or you can just hard cast him and he's just a 20k crit. But ideally, you just wanna, combo him out, and then have him in the drop so you can Union Absorb, running 3 of those. After that, we got Super 17 Cell Absorb. So this is the 6 drop Super 17 that you could bring out with Super 17 Furthering Heights with the Union Absorb. So you absorb a cell, and then this is Super 17 Cell Absorbed, which is a pretty cool, theme card right here. What he is, he's a critical. He's a dual attack, so he attacks twice with a critical, and every time he attacks, if you happen to have Sparking 10, that means 10 cards in the drop area, you're able to force your opponent to drop 2 cards from their hand every time he attacks. So in essence, this guy's gonna make your opponent drop 4 cards from their hand. And since we ramp up, sometimes you could even hard cast this thing and just, obliterate your opponent like that. And talking about 6 cost Super 17s, I added the Super 17 Power Distilled. This card is relatively cheap and it's very, very powerful. What it is a dual attack, and if you happen to have 10 or more non-black cards in the drop area, which you will, because this deck is heavily, colored based, there's no black cards in this deck, you're able to reduce the energy cost of this card from your hand by 2, meaning he could be a 4 cost, and since we ramp up, you can bring him out easily. And on top of that, he has an auto that when you get to choose 1 card in your drop area, send it to the warp, and you have a lot of cards in the drop. And then you're able to, every time he attacks, you're able to choose up to 1 green extra card in your drop area, add it to your hand, and then your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends it to the warp. So it's pretty much like Super 17 Cell Absorption, but a cheaper version. Very useful right there. And talking about extra cards that you need for that card, we're running Preemptive Strike. Preemptive Strike is one of the best extra cards for counter plays that the green has in the green's arsenal. What this card does is when your opponent plays a battle card that's 4 cost or less, you use 2 energies and that card is placed in the drop area instead of being played, which is very useful. Since we have a lot of energies, this card's going to be very useful, and you can bring it back to your hand with Super 17 Power Distilled. And I added, this card's at a place. I'm still talking about the extra cards, and since we are having a lot of cards in our drop area, this card is very useful to not only stop an attack, pop a 2 cost or less on your opponent's side of the field, and you can add it back to your hand with Super 17 Power Distilled if you happen to bring them back. So this card is very clutch. Negate, and you can use Sparking 5 to take a life. So this is where the Frieza was supposed to be. So this Frieza, when you play this Frieza, you're able to, choose up to 1 card in your life, add it to your hand. This card is our Self-Awakening power. So you play it, you pick up a life just for Self-Awakening. And we are running 4 of these because you want to Self-Awaken with this leader, ideally, whenever you can. If, the matchup, you need Awaken. So we have 4 of these. Very useful. And then Super Combo, 10k boost. Draw 2, Warp 1, Paragus, one of the best super combos in the game. I don't even have to say anything about that card. Senzu Bean, since we do run Blue Energy, you're able to manipulate your energy and extend your plays, or, Senzu Bean for defensive purposes. 5k boost, restand 2 of your energies. Very strong extra card. And then I added Gogeta. Last but not least, I added Ultimate Fusion Gogeta in here because this card is so darn good with this deck. Sparking 5 cards in the drop. You play it for 5 energies. You put 2 cards from your opponent's side of the field under their deck, and you draw 2 cards, and he's a double strike. This card is just so good now to run, especially when you're ramping with Android 16. So that is going to be the end of the Super 17 deck profile. Let me know what you guys think. Hit a like on this video if you like this deck profile. Subscribe if you're new here. And if we can get over 250 likes, I'll make sure to have some gameplay of this Super 17 deck profile. And hit it up in the comments section who you guys would like Super 17 to battle to make awesome epic battle. So that's gonna be it, and like we always say, y'all stay super.